But the sum of money that the reality of the quote was for just renovating was a big reality check. Like, this will ruin my life if I dump everything I possibly could into this business. I was just like, I don't even own a house. It's like closing down these little sections of my life right now. Like the Instagram, I'm not on it. I used to be super active. I'm okay with working my 9 to 5 and like actually making money, because the more I get in this community and realize it's pretty rare to like be wealthy from owning a business. It was a lot of pressure. A lot of people were like, oh my God, you can do it and you're going to do so good and you're going to crush it at this. And like everyone else had this faith in me. And I was like, yeah, you don't know what's going on. But you can't be all things to all people or you'll be nothing to everyone.
Gloria, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. The caffeine is starting to flow through my veins. So
That's good. That's great.
I can't complain.
And fun fact, you were on the original page of guests we wanted to have on at first when I was first creating this podcast. So it's great to finally get you on.
I'm glad you finally caught me.
Yeah.
I know I pushed it off a lot, but I was finally ready to start just talk about stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about today, so I think this is going to be a great episode. But yeah, let's kick it off with Luke's introduction questions.
Yeah. So I want to first off say that I really appreciate you being here. I remember I did your podcast in this same room with Matthew, What We Didn't Learn in Business School.
Shout out.
Yeah, that's true. It was in this room, wasn't it?
It was,
Wow.
yeah. And it
We really transformed this room for this pod.
Yeah, I did.
and
Much better.
and your work on that podcast really inspired me through this journey. And so, you know, that I just want to say that I appreciate you kind of pioneering the podcast out of the school of business here at Cal Poly Humboldt. And I'm hoping that more you know, students and alumni, you know, take the torch and start doing podcasts. So, with that being said, tell me, how has your experience podcasting affected your career after?
You know, honestly, I think podcasting made me a better public speaker in a way. A better public speaker, but also in a way that it's not scripted. I think podcasts, for the most part, can get pretty unscripted. You know, you always have like an outline, but you just start spitballing and having really good dialogue. And I think it's also made me like a better conversationalist, because it forces you to not only listen to the things that you're saying, but listen to how people want to like engage. And yeah.
Definitely.
Also, just to say, this really makes me want to break the fourth wall.
Go
Like,
ahead.
go ahead.
It's
We do
so
it all the
hard.
time.
Like,
Yeah, all
it's
the
so
time.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Okay.
I was going to say, I agree with you on the conversation. Being conversational with people is way better for me now, because like I feel like I can actually hold up a conversation instead of someone just saying something. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it. I'm able to like talk to people and ask them great questions. And,
right.
And what you said as well about the outline, like we've come to a point where we don't even follow this. We made a whole sheet for our last guest, and we just went off the cuff the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So
that happens. It's
This
nice.
is a safety net.
Yeah. Well, like writing things down, like there's like that thing where if you write something down, it kind of sticks in your head more. So even if you're not following the outline, your brain's kind of like subconsciously being like, oh yeah, you intentionally had that. And so, yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of things I definitely wanted to talk to you about. So I was like, oh, I need to write this down or else I'm going to forget it, because I've made that mistake with other guests before and I don't want to do that
Like
again.
crucial
So,
questions. And
Yeah.
you're like, dang it, I wanted to know that. I know I've done that.
yeah. So what, I guess, why did you stop podcasting?
Well, I mean, the biggest reason is because when Eli moved away, which is whose studio we were using, it kind of just changed everything. Like we had a really good flow going, and then him leaving kind of, and his studio closed down. He moved to Texas, and you know, there wasn't even like we could just do it somewhere else. It just kind of made things be forced to transition. And then so we had to we did a couple here, and then I think me and Matt just kind of got over. We had so much like stuff going on, like our capacity changed, and when you like break routine, it's harder to like get back into it. So the routine of not having like our studio kind of was like, oh, you know what? Maybe we just need to not. And yeah.
It's hard to podcast as well when, I mean, we are seeing benefits, right? Like meeting a lot of people. Like the reason I started this was to talk to more business owners. So this was a great outlet for that. But it's hard to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I feel like, why stop now for me personally? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue and go with this and just see what happens, because you never know, like if like you might not see anything for the first couple of years,
Yeah.
but then immediately after that, you might start to see like everything.
I mean, I think with me and Matt is like, we went into it with no intention of, we just wanted to talk. We just wanted to talk to people. There was no light at the end of the tunnel that we were searching for, which made it a little bit more low stakes, I guess, because we were like, we don't want to push this. We don't want to record it. It's like, we didn't, it is what it is. And people that hear it, and people that don't, whatever. But I think it was just like, it was good for us to do it.
What was your guys' listener base? Like, how many listeners did you guys have?
Around like 70 to 100 per episode,
Nice.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the analytics are really cool, and I always liked going back and seeing like what our top episodes were and how many people listened or what states they listened from, and like looking at the analytics of a podcast, especially being a small algorithm town kind of place, when you're pushing it and seeing that people are listening from other places is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's weird getting it's weird getting hate comments from other people around the world.
Oh, those are just trolls.
I know, but it's kind of funny. Like our first month, we got a comment. It was like, channel's dead. I'm like, we just started.
That's funny. Yeah. Like, actually, don't worry.
Yeah.
Never even realized
we know it's dead. Yeah, it's fine.
No, that was funny. But let's switch topics here. I want to talk to you about your schooling and what came out of that, and then your subsequent venture that you took away from school. So let's get into your schooling.
Well, I was at HSU, not Cal Poly, by the way. So yeah, I went to HSU and I went with a environmental engineering degree is what I started with. And I loved it. I love the concept around how engineers' brains work differently. And I think that's helped me in some other facets of my life. But I also got to college and had never partied. I never did anything. I was like sports in school and like friends in high school. But like I got to college and I was just like able to just do whatever I wanted. And then I flunked out my first year with a 1.9 GPA, which is like bad. But that's because, I was going to 8 a.m. chem lab, hungover as hell and whatever. And it was something I don't regret. Like, I don't regret that experience, because then I went to CR, because you have to, like, when you flunk out, if you want to come back, you have to go to another college for 2 years. So I went to CR, and that's where I took my first business class with Chris Gaines, who's the GOAT.
Shout out.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, like, I like this. And like, I can still like think really strategically and think like creatively, but in a different sense. And then that's where I started my communications minor as well. And then I went back to Cal Poly or HSU, and then I got my degree in new venture management and a minor in communications. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a really expensive piece of paper. And like some people think that to be a business owner, to be in the business world, you don't have to go to college anymore. And I could see where people come from, but man, the experiences that you're forced to do, because college is for a grade, and the things you're forced to have to do is like, it's important.
At some point, you're just like, I just want to get this C- and be done.
Yeah, but also like the challenge of being like, okay, I got the C-, but at least I tried.
Yeah.
Like I learned something, whether it was like you always learn from failures too. So yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, if it sounds confusing, HSU is Humboldt State University, which turned into Cal Poly Humboldt. So when all of our guests are like, oh, I went to Cal Poly, I mean HSU,
Yeah.
It's the same school. Same school. They just changed their name. I went to HSU for maybe a semester, and then
then
they
it
switched over to
switched.
Cal Poly. Yeah.
When it's so annoying is that when I was in high school, I was applying to Cal Poly slow. And then now I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. I still have a Cal Poly degree.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Not fair.
So
Full circle.
what ended up, you had a venture called Hounds of Humboldt that you were trying to start.
Mm-hmm.
What was the initial idea for that? Who made you like think like this is possible?
Yeah.
And how did that all get started? And then, how did that get
Yeah.
started?
So Hounds of Humboldt it started as a project. It started as a class project in one of my business classes with Nancy Visner.
Shout out.
The best. And it was like, one of those classes where everyone had to come up with a business plan and it had to be feasible enough. And I always tell people that like my business plan is so good because I did it for a grade. Like I look at other people's business plans that maybe they didn't go to business school or they, just kind of pulled something together because they looked it up on the internet. And I'm like, yeah, I went to school for that. Like, it's hard to like say, but I'm like, yeah, I did my 30-page business plan to get an A. That's why it's that detailed and that pretty and all this stuff. And so I did it in there, and the business plan didn't change much from school to attempting to bring it to fruition. But it was one of those, a business needs to fill a need. And I saw a gap in the community where I lived in a 300 square foot apartment with my 80-pound dog, and we didn't have a yard, and I couldn't really bring her that many places, and the dog parks are around here. So it was filling a need, trying to open Hounds of Humboldt, which for anyone listening was going to be an indoor outdoor dog park and tap room. And yeah, the project, putting together a business project like for school was a lot of work. It wasn't just like, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to write it down. It's like every facet of the business has to be fleshed out.
Yeah, it was one thing writing it down, but then you actually pursued it after that class. So tell me what it was like going from putting it down on paper to actually making it a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, so the big thing is that there's the concept of a minimum viable product, or the MVP, which is a business school term. And I had an SBDC advisor tell me, maybe start with an MVP. It's like start there and kind of test your community and test your demographic. And so I started doing dog party pop-ups at dog-friendly breweries that, in a sense, other people might have seen as competitors, but there's no competition in this community. I mean, the older I get and the more I work through it, there's less competition and more collaboration than anything. And so I started doing dog party pop-ups, and then I was like, okay, people want this will work. And then, I started doing trying to find a property and trying to find a place to lease, and what does that look like? And just, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, bringing it out of a piece of paper. But I think like the community and like asking for help and asking for advice is how I kind of kept going, because I was doing it all by myself.
Yeah. What were some of the logistical things you had to figure out? Like, you can get in depth here. Like, there's plenty of time for you to talk about it. Yeah.
I mean, if we want to dig into like finally trying to get a physical property to have this business, I learned a lot. I mean, God, I don't even know where to start, because it's like there's from lease agreements to now breaking a lease. There's all the stuff in between, and then hiring a contractor and working with the city of Arcata, which, sorry, you guys don't make it that easy. Working with the city of Arcata and working within all these guidelines with like the health department and the ABC department. And there is a lot you don't learn in business school. Like, there's a whole hell of a lot that nobody tells you. And trying to get loans, and it's something that I realize now is that most people that have successful businesses here aren't doing it alone. They have a partner of some kind. And I think in other better circumstances, it would have been something where I didn't do it. I had another type of person that was just as vested in it as me. I think it was one of those things where I found a property And I started doing all the stuff, and I got my contractor, and then approval by the city, and a planning commission approval, and X, Y, and Z, and, paying rent on an empty property while you're paying the city to get your permitting, and then paying, for these other things. And then all of a sudden, this basically what happened is I was prepared for a large sum of money to do everything possible to get this business open. And, but the sum of money that the reality of the quote was for just renovating was a big reality check where I was like, oh, like this will ruin my life if I dump everything I possibly could into this business. I'm going to hate this business. I'm going to not want to actually do this because it ended up costing so much just to renovate a space. And these are just things that don't really get talked about. People say that there's challenges, but I feel like nobody ever really gets into the challenges.
Totally. So you're the renovation costs to start up the business with the location you were at were a lot more than you expected.
I knew they were going to be a lot, but it was more than I expected. But I think seeing it on paper and seeing how little I could cut back to make it maybe less, like, oh, if we don't do that, it'll be less. If we don't do that, it'll be less. And then realizing, well, there's only so much that I could not do. I was just like, I don't even own a house. This is what it's going to cost to buy a house, like things like that. And that's a big thing I realized is a lot of people up here also own their home and then start a business. Because assets are important. Having something to collateral is kind of the only way you're going to get money unless you have money. So I'm realizing a lot of business owners up here, they collateralize their home, or they have something where it's like, yeah, I'm going to make my business successful so I don't lose my house because I used it to get a loan. And yeah.
Are we able to get into the quote cost? And
no, but what I will say, because I just don't want to. I don't want to get too deep into that. But I was using Alchemy Construction for my contracting, and highly recommend. People were like, "Oh, I could do it cheaper. I could do that." I'm like, "Yeah, well, Alchemy did I didn't have to talk to the city. I didn't have to go talk to this guy. They did everything. Which, like, when you're trying to start a business and work full time, path of least resistance. I mean, if it maybe costs a little bit more, is worth me dropping the ball trying to call this person or whatever, because they kind of do everything in-house as much as possible. Unlike some contractors only do this and then only do that. And they also really helped me try and find ways to cut costs. We're like, you don't need to do that. I'm like, okay, well, let's leave it off the list. And, but in the end there's no fault or no anything that could be done. It was kind of like, either I had the money and I was ready to risk it all, or I wasn't. And that was all on me.
So what ended up happening after you couldn't accept the quote? What'd you have to do to kind of get everything, I guess, most of your money back?
Yeah, it's the selling off of equipment, which, that paid the last month of rent that I told the landlord I could pay. And, it was the reality of paying back some of the people that invested in my crowdfunding campaign, which is totally acceptable. And it was kind of, just ending the lease and clearing out the space. And thankfully we hadn't done anything to the space. But it was kind of one of those okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. It was just very weird, closing down, kind of I don't know, I don't log into my Hounds of Humboldt email anymore, which is weird because I always did. It's closing down these little sections of my life right now. Like the Instagram, I'm not on it. I used to be super active, where I'm just let's just reevaluate. So it's kind of, there wasn't a whole lot to do, but it was a lot to emotionally process.
Yeah. So, guess what are you thinking about doing now? What?
I'm not.
Would you ever plan on restarting that, or?
Maybe. I don't know. It's funny. It's I'm not thinking about doing anything for the first time in a very long time. There's this really small thing I want to do because I can't ever stop doing something where I want to have a little free library, but it's for dogs. But that's easy. That's small. There's those little free libraries are everywhere. But no, and it's weird. I think I always saw myself opening some sort of business and being truly a business owner and not working for someone else. And right now I'm like, I'm okay with working my 9 to 5 and like actually making money, because the more I get in this community and realize it's pretty rare to like be wealthy from owning a business. And not many people will tell you that, or there's a lot of people, there's like trades business and things that are way more cost heavy, I feel like. Yeah. But people that are owning like restaurants and bars around here, they're rarely like wealthy people in a way. Like they have community wealth, or they have their assets, but they're not making $100,000 a year like you would if they went and got a job or something, which I'm not making $100,000 a year, but just an example.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about doing anything else because I'm kind of happy just working for once.
That's good.
Yeah.
What to end this segment of the pod, what would you do differently going back to you doing your business plan and stuff? What would you do differently to pursue Hounds of Humboldt?
Waited.
How long?
Until I was owned a house and was married. If I could like really, really think back on what would make a difference in actually opening it and it being open and successful, and me not wanting to rip my hair out 24/7, I would be married with a home, and then I'd have a person that was equally invested in my success, whether that was just emotionally or dual income is a hell of a thing. And having a home is collateral. I mean, that is the reality. Is I think it was a lot of pressure. A lot of people like, oh my God, you can do it and you're going to do so good and you're going to crush it at this. And like everyone else had this faith in me. And I was like, yeah, you don't know what's going on. And anything else, like I started being like very wary about my capacity when things started to get really real, when I got those numbers. And when, I was like when I was going to decide, am I investing in this? Am I doing this? Or can I not? And I think I wouldn't really do anything different in the sense of how I did the business, or like everything like that is good. But if in a different phase of my life, I think it would have been great. I think everything would have worked out.
Most people think they have a content problem. They actually have a clarity problem. In the modern economy, attention is the global currency. AAA Productions helps build repeatable content systems to scale your authority. Connect with us using the links in the description. Thank you, and back to the show.
I think that's a great take on it. I think waiting is a very realistic possibility for Hounds of Humboldt. There's a dog brewery that opened in my hometown, or near my hometown of Thousand Oaks, and it's doing very well. Mm-hmm. But they have a larger population, and they have and so as the population of Humboldt County grows, that will only increase the viability of your business, because there'll be more people to go get a beer there. Whereas right now, we are limited by a limited population of Humboldt County. Additionally, you're going to I would bet on you're going to increase your borrowing power over the next 5 to 10, 20 years.
I have no borrowing power. I don't know what kind of thing I was expecting to pull out of my ass.
We're just starting our jobs. We're very new in the realm of things, and so but you have a very good position with the Chamber of Commerce, and so your borrowing power is going to increase over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And, that borrowing power is going to put you in a much better financial position to take on, the loan necessary to start a business. And so I'm excited to see that in the future, and I'll be following. And when you open, I'm going to get a beer there.
I will say I at no point was ever concerned about viability and people being there.
I think, definitely.
As much as I could see how anything sometimes can thrive in a bigger population, I was not concerned. I was constantly baffled by the amount of followers I had on Instagram, people that would show up, people that knew. And so it was one of those things where I was like, I know it would succeed. I know it would make money, and I know it would be good. But sometimes I do think, I'm like, I don't know if it would have made enough money for me to pay that loan off in a good amount of time that I was going to have to get. But yeah, at some point.
Yeah. What were your projections on your business plan for month 1, 6, 12,
No idea. I was going annually.
Okay.
So I mean, I think it was like, it was, I mean, if I look back now at what it would have been like when I got the loan, it would have kind of been a break even for a few years, which is to be expected. But break even means paying employees and paying myself. Like I incorporated paying myself a livable enough wage in the expense projections. But yeah, I mean, it also is I think a kind of a hard time to project anything with the way costs are randomly changing all over the place. I mean, you have to, when you do these hypotheticals of financials, you have to like high end it and then low expectation it, because that could be the reality is you're actually only selling half as many beers as you thought, but they now cost double and stuff like that.
True. Yeah. I do know that, or at least from what I've seen, alcohol is pretty profitable.
Yeah.
So you can definitely.
That's thankfully, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you also work for the Arcata Chamber of Commerce. Can you tell us about that job and what exactly you do?
I'm an operations and events manager. I worked there, oh God, a little over 3.5 years now. It's the longest job I've ever had, which is, I guess that's good because I'm almost 30. And it's cool because I started going to chamber mixers when I was in school, like kind of how Luke did. And how you, like, I guess you did too, where like you're still in school and you're like, let me go to these and network, and because somebody else I know goes to them, or the E-Club wants us to go to them. So I started doing that alongside with Carolina. We would go to them together with the E-Club and stuff. And so when I got hired, the woman who used to be the executive director is now our bookkeeper. And she was like, oh my God, like I used to see you at mixers. And I was like, God, full circle moment. And so, yeah, I, day-to-day operations, which is, lame admin, checks, invoices, phone calls, yada, yada. But the big part of my job is event coordination. And it's really interesting because about 4 or 5 years ago when I was working somewhere else and I was kind of side hustling within that job to put on makers markets, like out at the social club and Scotia Lodge, I would put on makers markets because I was like, somebody needs to do this. And I already work with all of them as wholesale vendors. And I used to say, I'm not an event planner. Like there's old podcast episodes, I think of me and Matt, where you can hear me talk about how I'm not an event planner. And all of a sudden I had an epiphany the other day. If I ever don't want to plan Oyster Fest, I'm out of a job. And I was like, oh, I have to do this for the rest of my life, don't I? But I mean, I plan Oyster Fest. That's the big thing right now. And God, it's good. It's good. It's cool. Yeah, it's super overwhelming, but it's cool.
Hey, there's less desirable jobs out there than planning Oyster Fest.
Yeah, no, I'm really blessed with the position that I've got into, and I think if I think back, I think it's really, I mean, of course, connections and networking and being able to just go into a room and start talking to people and meeting people is important. But with that comes like authenticity and faith in just you being yourself. And that's kind of what I do all the time. Because sometimes I'm like, how did I even get this job? Like this is such a random job to have. And all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing.
When did you get promoted from admin to event coordinator?
No idea. Pretty early on, I guess, because I started as kind of just operations something.
When was that?
November 2022 is when I started at the chamber, and I was just kind of like admin stuff. And then transitions kept happening, and I was like, I can do this event thing, or I can help with that. And then it just slowly, everywhere I go, I build my own job title. I kind of just been like, I can do that, so let pay me to do that too, and it just kind of works. But it's been 3 years. This is the third Oyster Fest that I'm planning. So I got like the full promotion to like big time event coordinator about 3 years ago.
What goes into planning an event that's like Humboldt County's like staple?
A lot of spreadsheets.
Oyster Festival is the largest event we have in Humboldt County.
It's the Super Bowl of Humboldt County.
Is it? I guess I question what I'm doing.
What would, there's no
I mean, North Country Fair is kind of big, but that's 2 days.
I'd say Oyster Fest is bigger.
Canafest is gonna kind of.
I don't know about
big.
the numbers, but when you're there.
Oh, I mean, it is one. I mean, Kinetics is really big. Kinetics and Oyster Fest, I think, are some of the 2 biggest events. And now Friday Night Market, that's really booming. Really bring people here. Locals go to everything, but the events that bring people here are like the big events.
Yeah, a lot of people come from out of town to go to Oyster Fest.
But there's a lot of spreadsheets. So many spreadsheets. Thank God I learned that in business school because oh my gosh, that's like, I never thought I'd be that person. Like, can I have a 3rd screen? Like, I kind of want 3 screens. That's how much it's like Canva page building something here, spreadsheet here, a Google form here. And it's, it's the things like event, vendor coordination and volunteer shifts and putting all of those into organized files so that like I know what I'm looking at. And if somebody else looks at it, they'll kind of get an idea. And it's booking the bands. It's booking a dumpster to get dropped off. It's paying for porta potties. I do everything that people aren't thinking about. It's having a stash of toilet paper in my car because you never know when the toilet paper at the porta potties are going to run out at Oyster Fest. Like it's a lot of stuff and it's a lot of communicating with people and it's a lot of logistics and working with the city and working with all the businesses that are on the plaza, which ties in perfectly with what the other kind of parts of my job are.
You're the center of this big web of people and you have to pull everybody together and connect people and it's a lot of work. And I also want to say that, when you join an organization, when you get hired on, you're starting there, especially when you're fresh out of school, it's imperative that you make yourself an asset in that organization. You have to pick up responsibilities and duties and start doing them week after week, month after month to the point where they need you to be there. And if you're not, the organization falls apart. And so you basically, I
fear if and when that day happens.
Totally, yeah. And if you're questioning, like, man, what would this organization do if I just like left? If I just fell off the face of the planet, like, they would just be in disarray. Yeah. That's a good thing. That means you're a valuable. I mean, that's not in a way that for you as an individual and your job security. Yeah. That's a good thing. I mean, I don't know about the organization, but for you as an individual and your job security, that means you're in a good position. And I think that you've done that with the Arcata Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. I think that the role you play is super important in the things I see you do day to day, month to month. But I couldn't do it without people. Like Luke shows up to everything. I can rely on Luke on pretty much anything unless he's tied down here. Like if people like you and people that help out with the organization, like that's what makes my life easier, which then makes it so I can make other people's lives easier. So it's like, I'm not a one-man show, but sometimes it feels like that in my brain. But I do want to say in the sense of being invaluable at work, there's also a balance where you still need to understand that it's just a job. If that becoming such an asset starts to ruin your life, I'm not saying it has, but and it starts to make you be like, where you're just like, oh my God, like I can't get a break or I can't go on vacation or I can't do this or they absolutely need me. If being invaluable starts to really mess with your mental health or your boundaries at work, remember it's just a job. And we only are here one time for the people that we're here with. And like, if your job's kind of ruining your life because you've made yourself an asset, it's okay to like reevaluate. And I kind of watch that happen with people a lot where I'm like, you are relied on way too much and you're not getting the things you need. You're not being able to take care of yourself because of that. And it's hard because it's our life. We have to survive. We have to feed ourselves. But there comes a time where you're like, I got to pull the plug. Like, I got to cut the umbilical cord and like, so as much as like, yeah, it's good for job security, but it's also, you gotta find that balance where it's like, okay, I can do everything and I can help everyone and I can hold the things together for people, but do I always have to? That's important.
What are some of the big logistical nightmares with running an event like Oyster Fest? Like say a band cancels like 3 days before, or like a vendor can't show up because something happened in their personal life. Have you ever had to deal with stuff like that?
No, and I'd say those are pretty low on the nightmare list. Bands always want to play. That's easy. If a band cancels, I could call tons of people and be like, get in here. And they're like, we'll figure it out. Vendors, sometimes if vendors cancel, I'm okay with that because it's a lot of space to fill. You know, I'm like, oh, one less person I got to put on the map. Okay. Especially last minute. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we got this extra space. I can spread people out or something. But I think a logistical nightmare, this isn't real wood, but knock on wood, is if for some reason the porta potties didn't show up. That would be the worst. Or sometimes like when the electrical doesn't work on the plaza and we got to get somebody to go in there and fix a little bit of a fuse situation. That's kind of happened a bit, and it's important because we do have plug people in on the plaza for stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's I haven't had any nightmares. I haven't had any really bad things happen, so I kind of don't think about what could happen. I'm not like a what if. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah. I just am like, it's gonna be fine. I'm in charge. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. So, are we able to talk about finances regarding Oyster Fest?
Yeah.
Like, what are your guys' typical expenses, and how do you guys turn a profit?
Yeah. I mean, a big thing that we're super proud of this year is we spent about $70,000 locally, and what that means is last year for the last event. What that means is paying the bands, paying people to do our printing, paying the porta potty companies, like things you don't think about. Like that is a local business. Like I'm gonna be honest, it costs like $12,000 to rent porta potties. Yeah. And that's going to a local they are monopolizing. Anyways, that's a whole other story. That's like, that's a local business. Their people live here. They've been running their business here. And so $70,000 went back into the community specifically. We had a couple of things here and there, which like, we have to get this thing from a wholesaler online. We have to get this shipped from somewhere. And so we pay, and that's something I'm really proud of, is that we pay our artists as well as we can. We don't try and like hustle too much to get free stuff. And what helps is getting community sponsors to then help us pay what we should. And so the finances, I mean, the cost of the event, if I had my computer, I could tell you right now. Last year, I think the event cost maybe like $90,000 to put on.
And how much did the chamber take home from that? Did you guys take a profit? Did you guys lose? Nice.
Basically, what Oyster Fest does is it makes us so we have jobs for the rest of the year. I don't know how we were functioning before we took on Oyster Fest. I guess everyone was getting less hours and paid less, and there's less to do. But Oyster Fest is what keeps the chamber afloat, which then also makes it so that when we do like Halloween on the plaza, like that's a gift to the community, and we don't make money on that, but we pay to rent the plaza for Halloween. Season of Wonder and Light. There are things that we pay for, and we don't make any money on that. So there's little things throughout the year that are kind of gifts to the community because we've been able to turn a profit. I think it's the profit last year was around, we do a 50% profit margin, which is insane. And that profit comes from beer sales and vendor sales and the community sponsorships. Like shout out if you have ever sponsored Oyster Fest, because dude, it's necessary. It's so crucial. But yeah, we turn a profit and then use that profit to function for a whole year, essentially.
So 2023 was your first Oyster Festival you were overseeing?
No.
Or 2024?
2023, I did work a big position there, though. I ran a whole beer booth, which was kind of cool to I wasn't expecting in the next year to be running it. 2024, 2025, I did.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the financial growth through those years. It's
pretty similar. It's pretty same.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's maybe a $10,000 disparity here and there, but there's not a lot of growth. I mean, there's only so much we can do. Like, I'm very careful about not raising prices on vendors, but also not raising prices on beer. I think I'm very curious about this year though, because we're doing away with the tokens, which the tokens at Oyster Fest means you buy your tokens at one booth, then you go to the beer booth and you pay that way. And then our new executive director, Meredith Mayer, who's been crushing it in her role and really getting the community engaged. She was like, why do we use tokens at Oyster Fest? And I was like, I don't even want to think about it. And she fried my brain. I was like, I don't know. Why? She's like, what if we didn't? I was like, what does that even mean? Questioning my life. I've never been a bartender before. And so this year we're not using tokens. And I think that'll help us turn more of a profit because tokens are $5. So when you're getting $5 beer and a $10 wine, which is the cheapest, and it's good. And so this year without the tokens, we're going to charge kind of more regular prices, but they're still cheaper. I mean, it's I think so. We'll see how this year goes with the money. And then this is also the first year I've had to buy cups. Do you want to know how much cups cost? Yeah, almost like 30 grand.
30 grand for cups?
For 8,000 cups. And that was on the lower end. That was like the lower cup thing I could find. These are more expensive than those cool plastic ones we have.
Yeah. What about have you guys ever talked to Brighton Green?
Yeah, we use her for smaller events, but Oyster Fest it's just, and we turn a profit on the cups though. We sell the cups. So the cups also have a 50% profit margin, but we have to, like if I didn't sell cups, I mean, we wouldn't. I'm really curious to see because the last 2 years we were using cups that were bought in 2023 that didn't get here in time for Oyster Fest 2023. So there's a whole event worth of Oyster Fest cups that weren't used. So then I got to inherit those. And so 2024 and 2025 were all cups that we didn't have to buy from our bank account because when we took over Oyster Fest, we inherited everything that Arcade Main Street had. And so this is the first year I'm having to buy cups and actually make sure I make money back on the cups. Oh my gosh. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Wait, so how do you guys, what's your business model? You said you take a cut from vendors as well?
Yeah, we charge vendors.
And how much do you guys take per sale? Or
no, we just charge a flat rate fee.
Yeah, so
all events here charge vendors just like, it's $50 for a 10 by 10 or $150 for a 10 by 10. And then that's it.
So various for-profit and nonprofit businesses rent out these booths or tents at the on the plaza, and so the nonprofits who we want to support and make sure that they're able to take care of themselves financially are able to set up and raise money for their businesses. And you can catch me on the plaza pouring beer for one of those nonprofits during Oyster Festival. And so so that nonprofit this year is going to collect payments directly. How are do you charge them a bulk rate for their vending space?
Okay. So the logistics of the beer booths, people are probably know nothing about, and I'm very happy to share that. So at Oyster Fest, we ask different nonprofits every year, except for Humboldt Roller Derby and Kinetics. I've been doing it forever, and I'm going to keep letting them do it. And we have different nonprofits every year that they sign up volunteers. They do the work to get the people to run the beer booths. We don't charge them anything because the thing is we're keeping the money, but their incentive is they get all the tips. So all the tips from the beer booths go to that nonprofit that is running it. Last year, I think Pack Out Green Team got upwards of like $1,600 in tips, which is huge. Yeah, and they're having fun and they get to enjoy and they get to go on break and drink and come back. And so these nonprofits, something they get to do is like decorate their booth or like have fun stuff. And like the more energetic a bar is, the more you're going to tip, the more you're going to be like, oh my God, I love you. Here's a 20, and also, oh, you're my favorite nonprofit. Here's another 20. And that kind of happens. So this year we have Kinetics, RCMBA, which is Redwood Coast Mountain Bike Association, Black Humboldt, Humboldt Spay and Neuter Clinic, and then Humboldt Roller Derby. And so each of them run a booth. Now, the beer distributors make sure they have what they need. And then I have 2 highly qualified, trained staff that I contract for this event to make sure there's beer, there's wine, there's ice, there's water. They do all that running around, making sure basically the bar is stocked. And then the nonprofits and their volunteers just get to serve and have fun. But this year we're having all the people that used to sell the tokens are going to just be in the beer booth and they're going to be doing the register. And so rather than like you go to a token booth and you go across the street, the people that were once the token booth registers are just going to take payments like you're at a bar. So I don't know. I'm nervous, but
I think that's going to work better because I think last year when I was there, I was like, oh, I want some beer, and then they were like, oh, you need to go get a token, and I didn't know where the token place was, and I was like, whatever. Like,
so
I don't care.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You might make more money.
I think so too, and I think we'll make people happier, and I hope it works well. Because let me also say that those totes of tokens, you remember moving them, so heavy.
I think you guys will have a good side-by-side comparison of like money that you made with tokens and then money that you made without it. And I'm sure there's going to be more made without the tokens.
I think so too. And I think it was a really good idea, and I'm glad I didn't fight it.
Yeah, so you can see how to move for 2027. Yeah. Yeah.
So the nonprofit booths you provide, they get to have that space for free, but the chamber makes money off of the sales from
we
beer.
Provide all. We buy all of the alcohol from distributors.
Gotcha.
We get a special ABC license, essentially, and then
the nonprofits are able to raise money on tips, and this is we're talking thousands of dollars here, and so they rake it in.
Yeah,
and so this is very important for the economy of Humboldt and the economy of Arcata to make sure that we have money from outside the area coming in and being spent on our soil. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense. How about for the for-profit businesses, food trucks, restaurants? How does that structure of income to the Chamber of Commerce work? Do you just rent out booth for a certain price?
Yeah. So
tell me about that.
Artisan booths get charged a certain fee, and then food booths and food trucks get charged a higher fee. I kind of just like food booths and trucks are just a bigger logistical push. Plus, we have to get permitted for the health county. Plus, we have to pay the fire inspector to come out if they have, so they just have to pay more because they're doing more and making my life harder in the best way possible because I love having all the food vendors there. But yeah, so they pay vendor fees to us. But what's so great about event like Oyster Fest is that people like do really well. Like people sell out, or people like they come back year after year because they know that they can make so much money and like see all their friends and have fun, and
their sales are going to cover those costs for sure.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we want it to be equitable. I mean, we know I've dropped the fees compared to when I first started, and I was like, we don't need to charge that much. And because I understand like food costs are rising and propane costs are rising, all these things that are required to run a food truck. I mean, for a single day event, I don't want to charge some crazy astronomical price, but the people that are dedicated and want to do it, they're not going to, they're like, okay, here, take my money. Like I'm stoked. And so that makes me feel good that they understand the investment and then their investment.
Are you interested in starting a small business? We've had the opportunity to interview dozens of local entrepreneurs behind the Redwood Curtain. You can reach out to your local small business development center to receive free one-on-one advising today. Back to the show.
I wanted to talk about, speaking of nonprofits, your non-profitable events. So like you mentioned the Halloween event. So you guys make a good margin on Oyster Fest. What is it like running a Halloween event where you guys take zeros?
Yeah. I mean, so for example, when we do Halloween on the plaza where we just shut down the plaza, we don't do any vendors. We might this year because Halloween's on a Saturday. We're figuring it out. But we usually have some sort of entertainment in the center whether it's a band or somebody doing a dance thing. And then it's just for the businesses. It's trick-or-treating at the businesses on the plaza. And so, yeah, we get charged from the city to close down the plaza and have traffic control. And we just don't make any money. And it's like, it costs us staff time and it costs us fees to the city and whatnot. But that's okay. that's part of the reason why we make sure we fundraise, and we have 4th of July Jubilee, and that makes a profit of, it's not crazy, but it's something. And then our annual dinner, which used to be our biggest fundraiser, that makes a profit. So we have 3 events that actually like make money, that keep us going. And it's spread out really well too, with having like our annual dinner in February, which is about the time we're like, oh, we need to up the bank account and do this fundraising. And Yeah, so the events we don't make money off of, it's just like, okay, we don't really care. Like the community's happy and the businesses are happy. And something that we always have to remember is like, we're a chamber of commerce that got the ability to put on a big event and make money. Because first, we're a business supporting organization. So something I'm really proud of is how I've been able to manage the relationships between having a big event and businesses being right on the plaza during a big event. Because there's some organizations that don't give a shit about the businesses when they throw an event and just block them or just don't consider that they might want to be open. So I go, and the week before Oyster Fest, I go and check in with every business that's directly on the plaza. And I say, are you going to be open? And then if it's yes, do you want me to leave space in front of your business? And then that's how I structure out where I put people is like, if Peaches and Pearls is like, yeah, I want to be open and I want to have girls in my window, I won't put a booth right in front of her business because she pays a lot of money to be there and there's 10,000 people on the plaza. I want her business to be seen and not blocked by a vendor. But then there's lots of businesses that are like, no, we're closing because we're going to go have fun. Like the art center always closes and they're out there having fun or volunteering at the Kinetics booth. And so I can put somebody there. And that's something that's very important to like align the event. Oh, we got to make money. We got to do this we're a nonprofit here for the businesses. So
what about other chambers? Because there are, obviously chambers for every,
pretty much every city.
Town or city. So how are they making their money without putting on events like an Oyster Fest?
Yeah, I mean, chambers of commerces are membership-based organizations. So everybody charges, it may be a different rate, or how their rate structure is for being a chamber member is different, and they have slightly different benefits or different things they can offer. But every chamber of commerce does some kind of event to help them raise money. I mean, let's see, like everyone does an annual dinner. That's a big fundraiser. McKinleyville does music in the park. Eureka Chamber has been kind of started doing more workshops, and they have just a little bit different structure and aren't event centric, but they have more like educational event centric stuff, and everyone does it a little differently. And it's kind of cool, like seeing that, because it gives us other ideas of like, oh, we're lacking in this area of what we can offer. What are they doing? Oh, we can do what they're doing. And yeah. That's
cool. Do you know if any of them are like struggling financially, or have they all kind of found their own ways in making money to stay up?
I don't know. You know? Yeah. I think there's only so much transparency. And that's okay. Like not everybody wants to talk about it. And some people if they're not asking for help or not struggling, you just will never know but it's something where, the chamber communities up here are pretty collaborative and like reach out of like, hey, we're really trying to sell tickets still, or hey, we really need sponsors. Like, who did you reach out to this year? And, so it's, it's a community of like, we're all here to serve. And, we talk about Humboldt County in a way sometimes like the county is like its own whole thing. So it's like if there's inequality or inequity between these bigger organizations and they're not working together, then we're going to fail. And so like being able to work with all these other cities and help their businesses, or, people are chamber members of every single chamber in the entire county. It's not like this, my business is in Arcata, I can only be a part of the Arcata chamber. I'm like, no, join all of them. They all have different things. They all have different stuff, like benefits. And so that's why I like collaboration.
Also,
that's good.
Like Coast Central Credit Union is a member of all the chambers of commerce, and they're finance. They're providing a lot of money for the chambers. Redwood Capital,
shout out.
Yeah.
And so it's very like it's a very diverse revenue stream for these chambers of commerce, and different chambers have different revenue sources, and the amount of people they can employ is determined by how much revenue they got. And so we're very fortunate to have our Arcata Chamber of Commerce have a lot of strong, consistent revenue sources and be able to employ people that put on great events like Gloria.
I think it's like very important to note that we have a very special circumstance where we're all paid staff. I mean, there's 2 full-time, and then Zach's Zach's kind of full-time, and we're really fortunate that we can work and get pretty much a livable wage from one job at a nonprofit. There are so many nonprofits that are fully volunteer ran or have one paid-ish staff that makes sure other people that are part of the organization help things run. And like that people are constantly pushing for resources and struggling for grants because of these things where it's like they have an amazing mission, but they only have so many people to help pull it off. So we're really blessed that we've got a good team and we are not working other jobs and can dedicate our lives to this. And yeah, it's kind of hard watching other kind of nonprofits where I'm like, okay, how can we support you? Because we're good. We've got it down to pretty much a science. Like how can we support these other people, or, sharing grant resources, or sharing like, oh, we reached out to them and they gave us funding, you should reach out too. Stuff like that.
What do you think would benefit the community up here to have less of those volunteer ran nonprofits? Like, what do you think could be brought up here? What do you think could be changed, I guess, economically up here for not all businesses being ran by volunteers, for everybody to, I guess, have like a livable wage?
Yeah, I think that's hard. I don't really know how to answer that because I can't really see it from someone else's perspective. I do think that people are like, oh, nonprofit, like you're making money. Yeah. A lot of nonprofits actually make some sort of money, but they, like they said, that pays for me to work throughout the year to do all this stuff for our mission. I think some nonprofits, maybe they just are accepting that they make what they need to put on their event and that's it, not pay themselves or not whatever. And that's okay. Unless it's absolutely taking such a toll that the nonprofit fails. I think it's, I also think that the more there's a lot of resources for how to, like, workshops, how to get grant funding, how to be a better executive director, how to the blah, blah, blah. Within the nonprofit sphere, there's an organization up here, nonprofit up here called NORCAN, Northern California
Association of Nonprofits.
Yeah, thank you. That one.
I refer
They're
a lot
great.
of people.
Yeah. And so I think having more and more resources on how to help your nonprofit run. I mean, I went to a really good conference put on by NORCAN, and there was just a room full of people trying to talk about, oh, how are you fundraising? How are you fundraising? How are you leading? How are you doing this? And like keeping that flow going, because a lot of the times it's shared resources. So I don't think bringing anything here necessarily is the answer. I think it's continuing to educate with who we have here, and of course, like more money coming to the area, more people and putting money into, like, so there's the Humboldt Area Foundation, and they always put out 10 grand, 20 grand here and there to different nonprofits, more funding into these big accounts that help pay nonprofits. Like, that's kind of hard, and I think a lot of it comes from there's some older generation that had money, or weed people that were old and had money, or lumber people. There's like 30 or so people that are like the wealth of the county, and they also, kind of help make these foundations or connect people to how they have their money or something. It's very interesting where the money comes from. Sometimes I'm like, okay, it's cool, it's here. I don't know where that came from, but somebody had money. And so I think just that shared resources for nonprofits is what's going to keep people thriving.
What about, because I know there's a lot of pushback from like big corporations coming up to Humboldt County. Like, I know because they can be destructive. Like, if an AI data center came up here,
we're wrecked.
Yeah, that would kill us for sure.
Yeah,
but
we'd kill them first, actually, though. But
but if it got passed, like that would be nightmarish for everybody. So
you thinking about the Amazon thing?
Yeah. What do you think about big companies like that coming up here? Because the reason I'm asking this is because I had a friend come up here from out of town. He was like, yeah, like if one big company came up here, like more will come up here, and then there will be, more offices and blah, 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 more buildings, more jobs. And like, I can see that, but I told him as well, I'm like, dude, there's nowhere else where you can build, like office buildings. So what do you think about big corporations coming up here to Humboldt?
Well, for one, I really love that the city of Arcata has a limit on them. I don't know if you guys know that, but we can only have so many corporations, which is why, like, when Subway closed, Domino's was able to open, or whatever, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we can only have like 10.
There's a reason why all the fast food chains are off Gentoli, because south of Gentoli in Arcata, there's like an ordinance where you're not allowed, like, there's a limit. And so, there's no like McDonald's, like if you look, like, think about it, there's no Carlsbad, there's no McDonald's in Arcata.
Carlsbad, say it again. Carl's Jr.
My girlfriend is in Carlsbad right now, so Carl's Jr. But
I love that.
Me too.
And I think it's okay. So did you know that anytime we order from Amazon here, there is still a tax that goes into our county funding pool. So when we buy from Amazon, we are also getting an additional tax that goes into the Humboldt County tax pool, and tax money does get redistributed into things. We get money from the county to help run the chamber. And so there's that, where it's like, you know what? That's a hold that Amazon can have on us. You would not believe the amount of money that comes from, I would. We live here. We kind of have to sometimes order from Amazon. And that tax money comes back to the community, sadly, in a larger sum than it does of our sales tax, is what I've heard recently. City by city is different. County-wide sales tax, I'm pretty sure it's like Amazon is the sales tax booster. But I also think we're so indoctrinated as a community to, like, we'd rather pick up side hustles at like the farm and being a barista than going and working in a factory. True. Like, we're not 9-to-5ers here. Like, we're more like, we're like 9-to-9s. We're like, I'd rather go work on the farm in the morning and work on this in the afternoon, or do my nonprofit job and then have my other side hustle. I think we're so indoctrinated for a lot of us that it's okay to like live like that because we're happy enough and we have, I don't know, maybe that's just my point of view, but it's like, this is as corporate as I'm ever going to get like with my job now, it's like, I could never.
I agree. I think,
I could get a side job right now and go work on like deep seated farm for the summer and like, make $17 an hour, but then I'm having fun. And
Shout
it's like,
out deep seated.
I'd rather have 2 jobs living here than have one really shitty job and have an Amazon 20 minutes from my house,
True. Yeah. So what if having a Trader Joe's up here? Like, everybody hates Safeway. Right.
I think Trader Joe's would be great, and I think people would like it. The issue is we don't have a big enough per capita. And that's Trader Joe's thing, is you have to have enough population. We don't. And so that's why the closest one's Reading.
Then why is Costco able to thrive here?
Everybody has their own rules. One of the big things with Trader Joe's is like they only build where there's a certain amount of people living there, especially because they're kind of like niche. And it's like, I went down to Modesto to visit my dad and my friend, and they're like, yeah, they have a Trader Joe's 10 minutes from their house. They're like, we never go to Trader Joe's. And it's one of the things, if it was here, we would all go. But it's like in the city, they're very niche, which is part of that. It's like everybody goes to Costco. Everybody goes to Safeway or sends their homie to go to Costco. It's what I do. But I think Trader Joe's is just different.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like, say Amazon came up here and now like Apple wants to come up here or something, open an Apple store or whatever, or what else? Like NVIDIA wants to open an office out here, and LinkedIn wants to come up. Like, everyone from the Silicon Valley wants to come up here and start opening up offices, and then boom, there's a bunch of jobs. There's more opportunity for people to stay. Like, what? Like, are you against that? Like,
yes, and it's not realistic because the Redwood Curtain is real. There's a reason that there's a reason that section along Richardson Grove has been abdicated for so long, for so many reasons. But it's like, if they make Richardson Grove wider, it makes it easier for all the semis to come up here. If they make it easier to get here, it makes it, it's like there's little things about us being where we're at where it's like people aren't going to come move here unless they can fly here for way cheaper or can not drive on a freaky ass road that they've never been on because they're from the valley. It's like, I think it's a reality is like, if that's what we think is a future, it's going to change, how people are transported here. And I don't think that's ever going to change. We already take fucking 17 years to build a bay trail, a trail to connect the entire county. You know, it's like, so I think, 100 years, maybe. I don't know.
I agree with you because like, as nice as it would be to have, more opportunity up here for like people to stay, because the Cal Poly students, like their retention is super low. Like everybody's just going to go back to LA and Silicon Valley. But I just don't know where they would build it.
I was kind of like, what am I going to do? I think it was like a little bit after COVID, or right when it was kind of ending, and it was before I started doing, I'm pretty sure it was before I started doing my dog party pop-ups. And I was like, well, I could move to the Bay. Like I could get a big girl job. I could like move away. And that was kind of a bit of a peer pressure from other people thing of like, you're still in Humboldt. Like, what are you going to do for a job? How are you? I'm like, I'm not going to traffic ever again. I'm never again sitting in traffic ever. I want to live here the rest of my life, and so it's one of those like, okay, well, I have to make a name for myself. I can't, just, I mean, as an ambitious person, I couldn't just be like, well, I'm just going to keep working at this and I'm going to keep just figuring it out, when it's like, it was either move to the Bay and get a 6-figure job and probably kind of change everything about my life and myself, or stay here and figure it out, which is what I started doing. And yeah, I think people that stay here stay because they know that they might be unhappy somewhere else. They might be more broke here, but I think they're happier here. And that's the concept of like the GDP being based on happiness, not gross product.
Gross domestic product, yeah.
Yeah. There's the GDP of happiness, which is what we have here. Do we have a high GDP of all, whatever? Not necessarily, but we are exporting a lot of local goods out of here that people don't realize.
Cypress Grove, shout out.
Dude, they just got into Target.
Scorch Marker, shout out.
Yeah, I think there are, good paying jobs out here that are, salary, and they're professional, and there's something you can do after school.
Yeah.
I think that's one misconception I had up here is like, I thought like, oh, there's just like farming jobs up there. And like, it's like, no, we have banks and we have accountants and we have, there's these professional jobs available. And so, and also I think it's a lot cheaper to live here. So your dollar, if you're earning 20% less than you would make in LA or Bay, you're spending, 30% less on various things. Like,
but you're also making less.
Yeah, you're making
like I just
less.
learned how much my friend makes at Trader Joe's in LA.
Oh, I bet.
And it's as much as me.
They pay well at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is...
but I'm like, but if we had a Trader Joe's here, it would be $7 less.
Totally.
And the same thing, so...
But in LA and the Bay, I feel like the cost of living and the expected cost of living is so much more in that. So like in Humboldt, you can drive your beater that you drove in college, and you can still drive it, and no one's going to judge you, right? And
you're not going to break down on the freeway because it's 100 degrees, and you can call a homie to come pick you up on their bike, stuff like that.
Whereas in LA and the Bay, if you're driving that old sedan, and everyone's like, "Why are you still driving that? You need to buy a newer car." And there's the consumption. You have to have this new thing. You have to have the new iPhone. You have to have all these different things. So it makes it so expensive to live in the Bay and LA. And it's not just rent. It's every little thing.
Consumption stuff.
There's this peer pressure.
Like spending money is at the tip of your fingers, but it's spending money in corporate world. And here is like spending money just means something different.
Totally.
Yeah. Like if you went to the Bay and you made however much you make right now, you would be fighting for your life.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because rent is like $3,500
Are you kidding
for
me?
a studio.
Oh my God. I would be living in my car.
Yeah. Even if you made $100K,
you're like still sharing an apartment with 3 other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And like good luck finding a house. I think houses out in the Bay are like, you can find like a one for like $1 million.
Basically. Yeah.
So it's crazy. Whereas out here, you can find a beautiful one for like $500-600K. So it's crazy the difference. And I would like to live out here, like, because I'm happier and because I can live off, say, 40K, 50K.
Yeah.
And
make it work.
If you're making like 70, 80 to 100, like you're well off in Humboldt County. Like that's pretty good.
You're loaded.
No, truly. I'm
balling.
super transparent about financials. I think it's important in life, and I think it's also important in like friendships and like something that like, if you know that your friend doesn't make that much money, stop asking them to come out every weekend. Things like that. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to make like $60K this next year, which is not a lot somewhere else. But here I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm a little less paycheck to paycheck now. Like a lot of people here are paycheck to paycheck, and that's just how we live. But now it's just like, oh, okay, cool. But that's not going to just like keep astronomically rising because I don't live in the Bay. It's just like, okay, cool. Like I'm chill with being a little better for the next 5 years.
You can look into renting a house or buying a house if you want.
I can find. Thinking about like how the transition after Hounds of Humboldt has changed my perspective. Hounds of Humboldt was taking up so much of my capacity of my future that about a month after I was like, okay, like I announced that I wasn't doing it and all that stuff. I was like, I should go get pre-approved for a home loan. Like never would I have thought about that if I was still trying to do Hounds of Humboldt. And now I'm like, oh, I want to buy a house in the next 5 years. Like I want to do this. And yeah, it's kind of interesting, that shift in reality, but also shift in like adulthood. Like, where you're like, oh, well, maybe I could buy a house. Maybe actually that's not as unfeasible as people make it seem. And yeah, it changes.
I'm sure you know more than I do, but we can hook you up with a good real estate agent.
I'm
sure you have plenty, but
yeah. I have a friend that I would like to use, and I'm just starting to go through like, what does that even look like? All that random costs, or just inspections and all this stuff. So like that next phase of adulthood it's been interesting.
Do you have any final thoughts or advice for aspiring business owners?
Oh man. Well, a big thing that I tell everyone, and I learned it in business school, is basically you can't be all things to all people, or you'll be nothing to everyone. And I think that goes into every part of your life, and especially businesses. You can't. Everyone's going to want to come to your business. You're not going to get every demographic. It's a rarity that's a thing, and that's okay. And the more you try and please everybody or get everybody there, the less authentic you're going to be, the more stressed you're going to be. And so it's just like focusing on who you want to be there, a thing for, an entity for, an asset for, whatever. And then the people that don't want to buy your stuff or come to your whatever, that's fine. And I think there's never stop pushing to get more customers, but don't change what you're trying to do or change who you are to please everyone. And so that's like a big thing. And I think being authentic is possible for like a lot of people, for anyone that listens or watches this that like doesn't know me or hasn't seen me on our old podcasts. Like this is pretty much me all the time. I am who I am. I'm not going to be performative. I'm not going to lie. If you want to ask me how much I make, I'm going to tell you how much I make. You want to ask me why you left that job, I'll tell you exactly why I left that job. It's like, just tell it how it is. And I think being really authentic and considerate, and there's that point of being a considerate person and kind, and not being so authentic that you're just like abrupt and a brute and rude, because I've had those times. A couple of shots deep, but I'm very authentic. And so it's like being yourself. Like don't try and perform because you're in a new space. Like especially if you're trying to like network or go to mixers and this don't like come in who you are, and don't try and be like, oh, I'm this cool professional, or I know all this stuff. It's like just come in, and if you don't know anybody, you don't know anybody, and just be yourself. And then the people that want to talk to you are the ones that noticed you being a genuine human. And so that's like a big thing is being authentic in the business community and in the nonprofit community and just in life in general is important, because vulnerability is power. So, yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
and
thank you guys.
We're excited to see what you do next. We'll be there at Oyster Fest.
Yay.
Oyster Fest, yeah.
Yeah, let me plug a couple of things. Okay, Oyster Fest might have already happened when this comes out, but then we do the 4th of July Jubilee on the plaza. And then now there's the Arcata Friday Night Markets, which the first one's going to be that first weekend students are actually here, which is sick. I think it's either the weekend before classes start, like after orientation or something, which is just going to be crazy. And so Arcata Friday Night Market's coming back, and then we get right back into everything else. So Halloween on the plaza, and then all the other stuff. And so I appreciate you guys letting me talk about everything.
Of course, yeah. Have a good rest of your day.
Yay.